Hi everyone, welcome back to another Mommy Monday. It is great to be back. It is great to have another chance to speak with you guys again and to be real, raw, and transparent with you guys. Real, raw, and uncut. And I am not kidding when I say real, raw, and uncut. Because I want to share more of my testimony with you guys. I feel like I have been holding back a little bit from sharing things that I know will definitely help some other mothers out there, other women in general out there, just so you know that you are not alone and that there are other women who have been through what you've been through and that have overcome, and that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So today I want to share with you guys about a little bit about how I was saved from sexual immorality. God saved me from sexual immorality. When I was younger, I really dealt with issues of feeling neglected, feeling mainly of all rejected. I felt rejected. And my mom didn't really know any better at that time of how I was feeling, how I was thinking, how I felt neglect and rejection just from family in general. You know, not just from my mom or anything like that, but just in general, not understanding why I existed, questioning, was I truly valuable? I didn't feel like I fit in at all, anywhere. And so when I was 6, I caught my parents trying to sneak downstairs, getting some cereal midnight when I know I'm supposed to be sleeping for school. At 6 years old, I saw this encounter and I didn't know what it was. However, my mom decided to give me my first sex talk. Yes, my first sex talk. And I'm spelling it because my children are around. It's not time for them to have that talk yet, okay? But at that time, I was 6, right? And because I had such an immature mind at that time, I had some mature thoughts in terms of just wisdom that I feel like definitely came with me when I came into this earthly realm. But I had a 6-year-old mind. And so my thought was the way that she explained it of, you do it when you love someone. You do it, explaining all these things that I really didn't understand. I really did not have the maturity to really discern what she meant. So guess what ended up happening? I ended up coinciding sex with love. Oh my goodness. How many of you have made that mistake? No matter what age you were when your first talk happened or whatever those experiences were, how many of you made the mistake of coinciding someone loving you, meaning they wanted to get with you? Am I the only one? Maybe. If so, it is what it is. I'm at the other end of the tunnel now, okay? But yes, that's what I did at 6-year-old. I thought, wow, okay, so if that's how someone shows that they love you, that's when someone loves you. Because I didn't feel loved. I felt rejected. I felt neglected. I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like an alien. I did. And another topic for another day, but I even, at that young, I had many thoughts of suicide and different things like that, attempts and desires to just take my own life and just go back to wherever I came from, because I was just having such a hard time recognizing myself as in having meaning and purpose in being here. At that time, I know that's deep for a 6-year-old, right? But yeah, and I grew up and those feelings didn't change. But what I ended up thinking was, you know what? The first person I have sex with, that's going to be my person forever, because that means that they love me. If they want to do that with me, that means that they love me, right? But guess what? I ended up being molested by a family member. And that screwed up my understanding even more. My idea, my fantasy of what SEX was, of SEX being love. Guys, I don't know if this is making any sense, but I'm doing my best to explain this. And that happened around the age, I believe it was like 9 or 10. I believe, no, actually it was younger. I believe it was like 7, 8 years old. Yeah. Right? And so my idea, my ideas and my thoughts and the way that I thought about that aspect of life, of just human nature, it was all screwed up. It was so screwed up. And even just understand, like, okay, you know, if you do this, that means you love the person. If you do this, that if they want to do that with you, that means that they love you, right? So why did my parents get divorced? They ended up getting divorced. And so I'm like, okay, why did they leave? You know, do they not love each other more? Are they not doing that anymore? Like, is it? So I ended up feeling like, as I grew up, and when I did actually get into a relationship, I lost my virginity at 14 years old, with the person that was my high school sweetheart at that time. And you know, I thought I didn't know God yet at all. I had ideas, but I didn't know. I was constantly seeking God, but that encounter, my personal encounter with God, just didn't happen yet, to the understanding of me knowing, like, oh, this is God. This is who God is, and understanding how to build a relationship with it, because that was not prominent in my family. No one in my family was building a relationship with God, had a relationship with God. It was kind of just like that every once in a while doing the religious thing of going to church. And even then, I can count on one hand how many times we did that. And so I really didn't understand. And so my idea was like, okay, when I finally do meet that person that I think I want to give it to, I'm gonna wait a little bit, make sure they're that person, right? So I waited 6 months. Ended up kind of getting pressured into thinking it was like, if you love, oh my gosh, if I did not have that screwed up mindset, I would have known that that was dumb. Like, that being said to me was very dumb. But what was said to me was like, you know, it's been a while. No, like, man, if you really love me, like, if you say you love me, if you really love me, then, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me in. I didn't know that was stupid back then. But guess what? It triggered what? It triggered that little 6-year-old girl who learned that SEX was love. That learned that idea that is very incorrect, but I learned, but that's the idea that formed in my head. That was the belief that formed in my head. And so when that was said, that triggered me, and I was like, dang, like, I'm not showing that I love this person. And so I kind of ended up getting pressured into doing it mentally. And I decided, you know, okay, sure, why not? I do love this person, and I do really like this person, and I want to be with them at 14, right? Gosh, the things we do, right? And so time goes on. I have breakups in that relationship, and there are these spaces of time where I have time to reflect a little bit. I wasn't really as self-aware, but I would reflect a little bit, and I would also see other people, and it continued until I got pregnant with my first child. And I'm telling you, like, having children, like, hits you with self-awareness like a bowling ball. You know when somebody doesn't know how to bowl, so they basically, like, throw the bowling ball halfway down the aisle, or try to throw it all the way down the aisle to hit the pins. That's kind of how self-awareness hits you. The way that loud sound the lane makes when that bowling ball hits the wood, okay? That's how it hit me. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, what have I been doing for the past how many ever years? Like, what have I been thinking? Where am I? How did I end up in this space? I've never wanted to have children in a situation where it turns out I don't want to be this person. And it was with that high school sweetheart, but I didn't, like, I don't want to be with this person, not because they're a terrible person, but because I'm now realizing a bit more about what love is not, for sure. And we're not fitting anymore. We don't fit. We're not going in the same direction anymore. We don't want the same things. And now we're having a child, and that's not even been viewed the same. That's not, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, having that abruption of, like, that relationship, that romantic fantasy that I had, it finally collided with the true desire of my heart, of what I truly wanted to build in my life for my future children. And I was having a child because I wasn't, I wasn't going to go the other route of not having them. That was my belief. That's what I wanted to do. I was going to have the child. And so, and I did. He's a big boy now. It happened so fast. So I realized, look, something's got to give. Something's got to change. And I have to figure this out. I have to finally figure this out, and I can't keep running. And I cannot keep trying to cover up my feelings of rejection, my feelings of denial, my feelings of neglect, my feelings of feeling a lack of meaning, purpose, of feeling worthless with XCX. I cannot do that anymore, because that's what I ended up doing. Out of drawing up that crazy fantasy in my head about what love was and what SEX was, I ended up really hurting myself and self-sabotaging myself and medicating myself with SEX, thinking that, you know what, this feels good in the moment, this kind of puts those feelings at bay, and different things like that. And it all came to a stop. It all came to a point where that didn't work anymore, where I had to finally face the beast that was within and address her and figure out what's going on. Why do you feel this way? What is your purpose? Like, let's actually figure that out. And the only source that can answer that. And so God ended up taking me through a couple trials and a couple tribulations. And it got to the point where I actually ended up in a domestic violence situation as well. And I had already started my healing journey prior to that situation, like a year prior to that situation, but that was so deeply rooted. These misconceptions about what love was and the desires of my heart, and what it truly means to die to the flesh as well. Like, just with the desires of your flesh and the desires of your heart aren't always the same. And so, and also in that part of my journey, I also got a little bit big-headed. Like, you know what, I can, and this was around the father of my second child, and me thinking, feeling guilt that it's my fault that my children right now don't have this ideal, perfect picture life that I wanted them to have, because I made this mistake sexually, and immaturely. And so I felt guilt and I felt shame. I said, you know what, I want, this person. I don't like this person. I don't want to be around this person, but I can't keep my sons from this person, because what if they end up hating me because I kept them away from the person? What if they, just drawing up things and creating up a story in my head, right? Which probably would have never happened. But I did. Kyron, I came up with a story. But yeah, so I came up with this story in my head. And so I end up hanging around this person, kind of being big-headed, like, you know, I'm healing, I'm on my journey. I can handle being around this person because I ain't on that level before. From when we met and all this stuff happened, I'm a different person now, right? Well, guess what? That little girl that still had that misconception, that still just truly desired to be felt, to be heard, to be loved, still was feeling neglected. And it ended up surfacing in that situation, and a whole lot of anger that I had. And guess what? I ended up in a domestic violence situation, ended up losing a tooth. Trust me, more details. That would be its own video. Details, because that situation actually helped me heal. It turned out to actually be part of my healing journey. It actually freed me from a lot of misconception, a lot of limited beliefs that I had within me that I wasn't aware of. Remember, ladies, this is a side note from the story right now. Just remember that self-awareness and healing is a journey. It's continuous, and it's a part of growth, which means it's continuously happening. As you go through life, you're going through more and more experiences day to day. You're literally growing day to day. So that means your self-awareness is also continuing and growing day to day. The same person you were self-aware of yesterday, you are a new person today that you have to be self-aware of. There are new challenges, new opportunities that are going to present themselves to you, and you have to make decisions. These are different decisions that you have to make today. And so just remember, never think you've gotten to the end point, but also don't underestimate how far you have come. Okay? I just want to say that. But yeah, so I ended up in that situation, and actually that situation ended up finally like breaking that up off of me. Like finally, that that really began a deeper level of love in my relationship with God. It really did. To where now I'm at the point where it's separated but understood the truth of what God says about sex. Look, the truth of what God says about sex, the truth of what God says about men and women coming together, and the truth God even says about children. That would be another video in itself. Like, so many people want to make it taboo having kids, but when I tell you it is a gift of God, having children is not just something you can just do, because you have no idea how many women right now will literally look at you and wish they could have your life, no matter how hard it is with your kids and raising your kids and making the decisions that sometimes you probably just wish it was just you was just making the decision for yourself, but you have to make it for them too, for a whole nother being, and you don't always know if it was right or wrong. You're just kind of trying to make an educated guess, right? We're trying to make an educated guess on what will be best for them, right? And just allowing God to lead us in that. But having children is not taboo. Having children is a gift, and not everybody has that gift and that ability. Otherwise, the first time that you did it, you would have got pregnant immediately. Every time that you did it, you would have got pregnant immediately. But that doesn't happen, because God orchestrates things. He knew you before you even entered your mother's womb, and He knew everything that will go on in your life before you experienced it, before you even know it was coming. And He does give us warnings, but we don't always understand His warnings, especially if we don't have a deeper connection with Him, which is okay. We just have to continue working on it, believing in His word, reading His word, and getting stronger and stronger in discerning what is of God and what is not. But when I tell you, in this situation, the enemy really tried to paint something that was glitter as gold. And it took that situation and that circumstance of me fighting back, physically, but also spiritually, mentally, and emotionally. Fighting back the lies that the enemy told me and convinced me of at such a young age. Children are not exempt from the devil's tactics. Continue to cover and pray for your children. My mom didn't know to do that. My family didn't know to do that. But I'm letting you know right now, do that. Because he will plant seeds in your child's mind while they're young, because he knows that they're immature and that they are ready to just soak up and learn whatever they feel they need to learn in order to survive in life. When a baby lion cub is born, the first thing that child is doing is following its natural physical instincts. I need to eat, I need to sleep, right? Our babies do that, right? After that's down, they're learning. They're watching everything that mama lion is doing. They're watching everything that daddy lion is doing to try to figure out, how do I survive in this environment that they're cultivating me in? How do I survive? What do I do? What do I need to do? And so that's what our kids are doing. So the enemy will try to plant seeds within them, in their mind, while they're young. Because he knows they'll just grab it and take hold of it and run with it. And as they begin to grow, we aren't always aware that those seeds were there. And they end up showing and coming out in different ways that we weren't really expecting. But I want you to know that even though that situation was terrible, that day began the renewing of my mind and the understanding that my sexual immorality, this belief, this lie that I had in my mind, was going to lead me to such a devastating end that I would not be able to return from if I kept going any further. And God literally showed me in a dream exactly what would have taken place had I not turned and repented, changed my ways, changed my mind after that situation. I needed to go through that in order to turn around to what was actually right. And understanding how valuable my body is, how valuable my time, my effort, my energy that I put into loving others is, and how that should not be given and just thrown around lightly. But that I have to be discerning of the people that come into my life, the people that are requesting pieces of me. Have they earned that? People do have to earn you. They have to earn you. You are priceless. Cut it out. You are priceless. Jesus literally died, put blood on the cross, suffered a slow death for you. So I just want to invite you to begin your journey with God, in becoming and understanding how to remove yourself from that train of thought, from that life. If you find that it's not serving you, that is emptying you, honestly. It's emptying you, it's draining you. I challenge you to just ask God, what is this really? What does sex really mean? Why did you give us the ability to do it? Why do I have this desire? I challenge you to ask that. And I'm happy to share this with you. If you can relate at all, maybe comment. Put it down in the comments if you feel comfortable. If this is something that you have been through, if you're able to relate to any part of my story. I hope this has been encouraging, that what you've been feeling, that intuitive feeling that you have, that you know, something's got to change. This just isn't working for me anymore. I don't really like this. It's a real feeling. It's real. And honestly, it's more than just your intuition. Listen to it. And find somebody that you trust to walk with you. To walk with you through your journey of wanting to change. Excuse all the background noise that has gone on this entire video. You know we have little ones. And usually I try to put them somewhere far away so you guys don't hear them. But today is just a day where they had to just have their little freedom. Otherwise, it was going to be crying in the background, okay? So I love you guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be here on YouTube. This is my first video for you guys. Subscribe, like, I guess, if you enjoyed and if you are excited for more. I'll also be sharing clips on Instagram as well as TikTok. I hope you guys have found value in me sharing my testimony today. Well, one of many testimonies. I'm so excited to share more. And yeah, enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the rest of the week. I love you guys. Bye.
Mommy, that was nice.